specified smoking areas.
Zach? OG, I throw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I throw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I throw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I throw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas that leave me alone. Talking about niggas as low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I made that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang. And we split it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight. Cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day. They still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. But mama, she bad but complain. Cause I'm too in love with my dreams.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving weekend. We're here with Cliff. We can go ahead and get our week started. All right, so Cliff, let me share my screen with you. So I pulled the, all right, so I did the thing over the weekend, right? And then I didn't know, you wanted me to pull the stuff, right? From, because I had all these directories on the HPCC with all the conditions. So what I did was I zipped them into shapetest.zip. And then I tried to pull that over here using secure copy.
Yeah, and it looks like you got it because it looks like there's something.
And then I unzipped it, and then
and you got directories.
Yeah. Now the only thing I don't know is because I know you do like the symlinks and stuff, right? So that's the only part I'm not sure.
No, you don't have to worry about any of that. That's all taken care of. When you do the zip, that follows through those links and it grabs out. So if you do an LSC0101 or 1001,
LSC0 tab,
C0 tab, 2 tab again, like that, whatever. Hit tab. Well, that's a problem. Oh no, it's there. Good. We got files, so everything's cool. Okay.
Yeah, I guess we just didn't do snapshotting or something.
No. It's just we're we turned off the snapshotting because we didn't want that.
Oh, right. It was giving us too much data. Yeah.
We only do that if we want to track a phylogeny or if we want to rerun something.
Right.
But we just want data, so we don't care. So
all right. So when I do zip, so just run me through that again because that part you said again. You told me this before, but
you did.
It's been a while. When I zip, it pulls it all.
Yeah. Whatever you zip, when you do a zip, because you're on the HPCC, when you do a recursive zip, it ignores those symlinks. It just goes right through them, and it zips everything up as though it was local. So then
once I pull it, it's all in there.
It's in the zip file. When you unzip it, it just puts it where it just makes it look like what it looks like.
That's magic. So the only thing I have to avoid is leaving it up there so long that after I run it, it gets deleted.
Yeah, and you can't do it you have to be on a development node. You can't be on the gateway because the gateway doesn't have access to the scratch area. Right.
Okay. So we should be good to go. So now we want to look at these. We want to see what we got, right?
Yeah, so let's just do some graph. Let's just do some mgraph.
All right. Let's close this out. Let's give us some more space. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to start with?
So we're going to do Python 3 ... tools mgraph, and then we got to do a bunch of parameters on mgraph.
All right. I didn't do something right. You know what? It's tools. I'm in the directory, so it's tools, mgraph, like that. Yeah. And then
then
H.
you're going to do dash conditions. Oh, you can do dash H if you want. That's fine. But
This just tells us.
Do up arrow.
This shows us the help. Oh, yeah. So there's conditions.
And then we're just going to do condition C star, so we capture all the conditions.
All right. So we'll do here. And then it's dash conditions like this.
Yep.
And then C star.
Yeah, because it'll just find all the ones here, as long as there's nothing else that starts with capital C, but I don't think there's space. And then do combine conditions. That's going to put all the conditions on one plot.
Yep. And
then do space dash rep range. And that's going to be 1001 space, whatever you did.
I think we did 10. Let me, I think, was it 10 or was it 20? Let me check. That would be.
It's whatever you did on the ACBC.
Yeah. So that would be, let's just Vim MQ conditions.
Just do LSC0. Just do, no. You do it the hard way. Just LSC0 tab. Enter.
Yes.
You did 100.
Did 100. Yeah. All right.
So it's to 1100.
1100. Yep, like that.
Space. And then you dash verbose.
All right, and then we got to get it to save as something because it's still not going to visualize it.
And then you got to do your save dash PNG dash save name.
So save this like that, and then it's like save name.
And then whatever, and then just whatever temp image, whatever shape. Yeah, sure, that's fine.
All right.
Now scroll up before you do anything. There should be a thing that lets us set the file size, the image size. I don't know what that is.
Image size.
Yeah, set that to be like 40 by 40.
40 by 40.
Otherwise, we won't be able to read these plots because normally we can zoom in, but we can't zoom in on this because we're going to make an image. Actually, you could save it. Why don't you save it as PDF? Then we can zoom in on it. And then the size, then you can leave it at 1010. It won't matter.
What is the 1010 40? It's not pixels, is it?
No, it's inches.
Oh,
but it's inches. It's like there's a pixel to inches internally. I don't know what it is.
Right.
You don't have to worry about image size. You could just get rid of it.
Go back. Okay. All right. So leave it like this.
Yeah, because if we save it as a PDF, then we can zoom in on it. Then it's fine. So just do that. It's going to take a while.
Okay.
But it's got to load all these files, and then it's going to have to munch the. Oh.
Nope. Not.
Because C make lists. Okay, so yeah. So that's the problem with having.
The C star is.
That's fine. Just do up arrow and then do C star under bar star. I think that'll just capture the conditions because C make list doesn't have.
Yeah. And technically, if I'd have pulled this into work, it would have been fine.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the end when you do that.
Yeah, I know. I always have the bad habit. It's probably irritating to see somebody do it all the time.
It's doing its thing. Oh, that went pretty fast.
Oh, it's fast. I can't even hit a bong with this damn computer. All right, let's go.
my computer, I'd still be sitting here loading.
All right, so.
You got shape test 1 PDF.
Where's that? All right, there it is. All right, now let's explore.
PDF your own choice.
All right.
And then this is going to give us a sense of whether your conditions, this isn't going to tell us very much, but it's going to give us a sense.
Now, what do we want to open this with? Oh, Lord.
Just whatever. You can just open it with a web browser. You can open it with Edge or whatever, Firefox. It doesn't matter.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
Okay, so right off the bat, we definitely have differences. I mean, we're going to render this differently. So I guess we're going to want to go bigger so that those legends get smaller.
Yeah.
So you want to just rerun it with image size like 50 by 50.
Okay.
And that'll make all the legends smaller.
Yep, I'm in the wrong program. Here we go. Image size 50 like that.
Yep. Take a minute.
Race to the bong, quick.
Time's up.
Damn it.
Time's up. Time's up.
I can't not exhale. Sit there and choke. Sit there and
do a
choke.
reload. Or whatever. Go back to your image and do a reload.
Yeah.
Or did you close it already?
Yeah, I closed it because I know.
There we go. Okay. So we're definitely getting some big changes. So that's good, right? Like right off the bat. So let's just zoom in on that consumption ratio.
Which one? This one? Okay.
Yeah, just to see what's going on. So consumption ratio, if the consumption ratio is high, that means that they're switching. Well, it either means they're only eating one food or it means that they're switching. So,
okay, well, you can see it's distinguishing, right? No food types, one food type with no shape mating is doing the most eating or switching or whatever.
Yeah, so actually what I want you to do, quit out of this. We're going to do, actually don't quit.
You want to look at something else?
Well, we're gonna make a plot that doesn't have everything on it. Ooh, what's that thing with the big spiky bit at the beginning and then the decay? Is that some kind of genome length or?
The gaze.
Whoa, that's
a problem.
No, that's epic, dude. Okay, this is really cool. So with this is the number of deterministic gates in the brain, and what this is saying is that this number, for some of the conditions, spikes early and then falls off to like nothing.
Right.
For some of them, it drops a little bit and stays pretty constant, these purple ones.
Right.
And then these green ones, they go up
intermediate,
but more slowly.
Yeah, and then they kind of chill out lately.
This is significant. And it looks like at least the red ones, the red and orange are very significant. Then this is
dude, it could be the difference of food type 1, right? When there's only one food type, things are going to be different. I expect things to be wonky with food type 1 and food type 4. And then I think 2 or 3 is kind of getting into food.
Which are the red ones, though?
That's food type 1, no shape mating.
4, and then the shape mate being
0.
on and off.
Yes.
So the first 2 lines are, it's okay. So it seems like the shape mating on and off didn't really impact, because those are mostly clustering in pairs. The 2 purple ones are together.
The red and the orange are together. The kind of greenish ones are together.
Yeah, okay. We're going to render this with thicker lines so it's easier to read what's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You're right. It seems like it's the food type. The food type is doing it, and then they're still having sex. It's just whether or not they're doing the shape.
What's also interesting that when the food types are low, they spike their brains get big when the food types are low. When the food types are high, they stay pretty. I mean, wow. That's all right. That's interesting. Okay, zoom out.
Hang on.
See what else we got going on here.
Sorry, I was just saying, what's up?
What's the panel to the left? Is that the genome
Super Hornet just said all of this autonomously assembling shapes is making me horny. See, Cliff, you got to get them science groupies in your life, baby. All right.
Okay, so genome length, where does the genome length grow the most? The genome length seems to grow most in the intermediate foods. So at food 4, it's like, I don't know.
Purple's down here and red's down here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So it's at the intermediate foods is where we get interesting growth. But now there's a division because, all 4 of the intermediate foods are in there. Okay, zoom out a bit. All right, the variance is what we expect. The number of brains is the same as the other thing. Go to the
look at the
middle.
Shape average. This is interesting because that's where they're supposed to be averaging out to 0, right? If they balance each other out.
So if it's going all over the place, it's drifting, right? If it's going up and down, it's drifting. If it's really locked in the middle, which it is.
But there's ones with shape mating off. That's the thing. So like that purple one with shape mating on. Right, then so that would be interesting to compare the on versus off.
Yep.
So we might have to plot those out separately.
We may have to put in, rather than doing the average shape mating, we can add 2 bools where each agent reports if. No, that's going to be the same thing. Oh, no. If we do, no, we'll have to output it separately. We need to output a thing. We have to output a separate report that says how many are what value, or we have to look at the snapshots.
Yeah,
but
the
we
snapshots.
Can't get that from the.
Yeah, the snapshots tell us that. Hang on, I'm just trying to get you back on screen. Okay, there we go.
I want to look at the scores though. I want to look at the scores in the switching to see what's going on there.
Okay. All right. So here's.
So which one is switch? Which one
switch is last, I think.
Okay, so all of them kind of start playing the game,
right? Because they stop switching. Switches get near zero.
Okay, so the middle ones, when there are two, especially two foods, they actually get to the highest switches. The four foods, they're just like, they actually increase their switching over time. The orange is shape mating on food types. Obviously, the orange and the red are never going to switch because there's only one food type.
Right, yeah.
So
they're bottom,
okay.
which is kind of cool. That's a nice sanity check, right? They shouldn't be switching with one food type, so that's good. Good to see that they're not.
Yeah. Okay. And then I want to see the scores.
Scores should be like right.
I think it's to the right.
Yeah.
There it is. All right, so scores are right. When there's only one food, their scores are higher. When there's two foods, it's harder to play. But here's interesting: when there's two foods and shape mating.
So wait, you think two foods should make it harder, right? Frequency dependence. You can't eat everything.
Yeah.
You can't eat the whole grid.
If there's
or
only
whatever.
one food, you just go wherever you want and you eat everything.
Yeah, and you can eat the whole grid size almost, right? Because there's only one food type.
It's just eat everything.
Yeah.
Move, eat.
Because then everything just gets replaced by the same food type, right? If I'm thinking of shape mating correctly.
Yep.
Because it's random replacement, but random replacement with one food type is just always going to be the same food type.
Yep.
So there's food everywhere.
And so probably what they do is they hit the wall and they just run along the wall and they eat everything. That's probably their whole.
Okay.
Their whole
and there's no blank spots. Just so if people are wondering what Berry World is like, just imagine a grid like a tic-tac-toe board. Tic-tac-toe board would be 3x3, but every single spot, right, Cliff, is filled with a food. So when we say food types, you can just think there's only red food. When we say 2, there's red and green. 3, red, green, blue. 4, red, green, blue, yellow. But yeah, so what we're saying is when there's only one food type, there's no need for them to navigate or anything. Just eat everywhere, right? Because it's the same food. Yeah.
I just sent you a movie. It's a little MP4. It's pretty small. It just gives an example of an agent playing Berry World.
Did you send it to me?
This is an agent that just eats one food type, but just so you have it.
Did you send it? Would you send it to me?
It's an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 50 gigs. I mean, not 50 gigs. It's like 50 megs.
Okay. Should I show it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Got it.
It's that one. Yeah.
Hang on one sec. I'm just making sure Mike didn't like magically hit me up like, yes, we should meet at 2. All right. Just my luck. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna download this because I want to save it anyway, and then
you have it because it always comes up. So.
Yeah, and I need to save it somewhere strategic, like data, work notes, MABE. There. All right. Now show in folder. All right, there we go. One's the downloads. There's MABE. I don't know why these windows got crazy looking. All right. Refresh downloads. There it is. And put it over here. God, you're annoying the crap out of me right now. I mean, should just cut and paste it, but look, boom, there we go. Rename it.
So this was evolved using a gene regulatory network. That's why it's GRN.
Oh, Barry GRN, got it. All right.
Yeah. So the brain is a gene regulatory network, but that doesn't matter.
Right.
And of course, it doesn't play.
I think it's just the. It's probably opening it with something else. Let's see.
VLC should play it. VLC plays almost everything.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
So this is food, two food types.
Yeah, this is 2 foods, and this guy eats red, and he doesn't eat green.
Yeah, so you can see him hunting.
And
He's
the
not,
white,
boop, boop.
The white line is just showing a trail, so it's easier to follow.
Trace his behavior. Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of moves around seemingly at random, but he kind of seeks out the red food, kind of, sort of. He doesn't use a lot of his sensors. So that's it. That's very well.
But they eventually get better to where they're really like hunting.
Yeah, that thing ran for like 10 hours, so it's pretty plateaued at this point.
Yeah, and the brain types and all that matters. But yeah, that's an agent playing Barry World. And the other thing that's different is, and Cliff has shown this to us in the video before. Actually, ours is multiple agents being evaluated at once, so they have to deal with not just the berries, but other agents eating and moving, and they've got to detect each other and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, thanks for sending that video over. That's helpful. All right, so what do you want to do with this?
So, do a dash show. Like, just do an up arrow and add dash show at the end. What dash show is going to do is it's going to look at the first file, and it's that list right there. That's all of the columns that it found in the pop file.
Got you.
So this is I'm going to get the column names for the C0, FT1, SM0, 1001, pop.csv, and here's all the columns you have. So now if you do up arrow again, get rid of dash show, and replace it with dash data. And now let's just look at some data space, and then do shape av, shape av space, score av space. Let's do switches av, and then space, and then we'll do dash. Do dash H. I always forget how you do line width. It's either line weight or line width. I can't remember which one. Line weight. It's right there.
Where? Well,
you scrolled up.
Is
it's
it
right at the
plot style?
No, at the bottom. Line weight.
Line weight. I see it. Line weight.
So I do an up arrow dash line weight. Put in like 3. This just makes it easier to see, read those lines. And then dash space, do dash num, N-U-M, C-O-L, capital C-O-L, space 1.
Oh, yeah, put everything
it'll
in
one column. And then go back to where it says image 50 by 50 and just make it 50 by...
oh, crap. All right, here we go.
No, you're fine. There you go.
Make it what?
Make it like 10 by 50.
Oop, space.
And then, yes. So this is just going to plot those columns, and then it'll be easier to look at this data. And it's going to put it all in one column so we can see everything.
All right, and where the heck did my other window go? Let's
search me.
Forgot a letter. Can't spell. Boom. All right. New one. What is this? Oh, there they go. There they go.
Oh,
there they go. Okay.
All right. So maybe make it less high. Yeah. Just run it again, but make it like 10 by 10. We don't need it to be this big.
Oh, you stick with 10 by 10?
Yeah, 10 by 10 is probably fine. 10 by 15, fine. I mean, this is looking at the same stuff. It'll just be a little easier to see what now that we're zooming in on what we want.
Yeah, totally. It's like, I do the same thing with the spreadsheets. It's just too much data at first.
Okay, so, yeah, the unfortunate thing is there's only so much we can glean from this.
Right, we got to redo it with the snapshots.
Yeah, and now we know that there's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's fine. It's no big deal. Yeah, we'll have it for next time. Let's actually.
But I mean, it's nice to see that it's actually working.
Do that. Yeah. All right. So what do you want? So what are we seeing here? Yes, I like the bigger lines. I'm wondering if so. Oh, do you think the other ones? So there's some oscillating, like the red and the yellow. These are the ones I think where shape mating is off, and then I bet you the other shape mating on ones are laying under this purple line, because this adds lines going from here to here, right? So if these other ones, like this one, and if they're like on the same place as the purple, they're going to get overwritten because of the layering.
Yeah, because the purple one is layered on top.
And that's what you think we're seeing here. So these are.
Let's zoom in and make sure that we're only seeing those. The 4 that we expect to see. We're seeing the very red,
the yellow.
Yeah, that kind of mustard
the
yellow.
Green.
That teal-y seafoam green, and the very blue.
And the almost.
Yeah. So the other 4 are underneath, which is great.
Yeah.
So when shape matings turn on, it looks like they are all very much.
Figuring out shape. I mean, they
and the thing is that this waving line, if they were all exactly at 0, I would expect this line to be straight across. The fact that it's oscillating up and down a bit indicates to me that we've got 2 extremes, and that the density of those 2 extremes is a little bit off.
Yes, which it should be, and there should also be like the occasional mutants that we see, right? Which so it shouldn't average
the mutants are going to take
it
off the line, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
The selection not being perfect plus the mutants will take it off the line, but other than that, it's going to be right on the line. So that's fits expectation.
Yeah.
Scroll down, and then for score.
Now this is interesting with the 4 food types. Well, that's what you'd expect, right? Because now there's.
It's very hard to play the game.
Yeah, and it's hard to figure out where your food is.
Right, and they can only they can see the 4 types. Remember, the idea here was with 4 food types, they could potentially create
cross types.
They have the 1s prefer 2s, the 2s prefer 3s, the 3s prefer 4s, the 4s prefer 1s. The 1s and the 3s are males. The 2s and the 4s are females. That could happen, but we're going to have to analyze every single replicate in order to figure out if that happens somewhere.
Right, because it doesn't have to be an average thing. It could just be a thing that happens once in a while, or once, really. It's the idea that it's possible. We don't know if
I'm going to show you a couple more ways to analyze the data, but I just want to look at this real quick. So the 2 greens are pretty much on top of each other. What's interesting is for food type 2, without shape mating, they get a lower score. So shape mating seems to be stabilizing the score. There's less variance and giving them a slightly higher score. And in the case of the next one down, the 3, the same thing happens. And look at the error. The error here is 95% confidence.
Wait, so the 3. Wait, I'm comparing the 3. Food type 3 is the green and the blue, and you're saying the blue is slightly higher. Yeah.
Yeah, and the green is slightly higher than that yellow mustard.
Yes,
which is the same thing.
Same thing happening for food type 2.
On is giving them. It's actually helping them generate a higher score, which makes sense, right? Because if
except for 4, but that would be if they haven't figured it out yet. It doesn't matter, and they're on top of each other.
When you did shape mating off, what is the when you do interesting? How do we turn off shape mating?
Pick a mom, pick a dad, jump down to and then just add them.
But like when you turn it off.
Oh, it's a setting. It's just a setting. You just switch it from 1 to 0.
So it's still sexual.
Yes, it's just pick mom,
so they
pick
can still
dad.
Select by color. They just don't get the increased. They don't. So do they get the point?
Oh, like I think they do though. No. They just don't do shape mating at all. Let's look at it. I think what they do is they still do the lek, and then whoever wins just automatically.
The shape just doesn't matter.
Yes, the shape just doesn't matter.
That's what I remember also. So that's interesting that shape mating is making them able to achieve higher scores.
Optimizer.
That's actually pretty cool.
Let's see. Tournament optimizer. that's not the code. That's the code.
I'll be right back.
All right,
keep
cool,
going.
cool, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna look at this. All right, so let's go to the beginning. We pick a mom, we pick a dad. Elect mating with shape, it's in here. All right, so we pick a mom and dad. Don't worry about all of this. Right, the LEC is independent. So if shape mating's off, they still do the LEC. We still do the preference. We ignore force and resistance. We pick a new dad. That's a challenger. We compare the new dad and the old dad. Add the new one to the challengers. Then we compare based on our preferences, which is the food scores. At the preference of the mom. And then, yeah, if shape mating, they do the whole reproduction chance, mate similar, blah, 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 blah. Else, which would mean if shape mating's off.
Yep. Else, you just cross them and you say increase the odds. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So there's no chance of failure. It's always
no chance of failure.
Success.
Yeah.
So
but
it's
there is,
as if they were perfectly matched.
Yes, it creates like they're automatically the perfect shape, right? Yeah.
Now keep in mind that this score here.
But they do still do the LEC because we don't turn off LEC with this, right? We can turn off.
Yeah, and
the
they
LEC,
can
but we
still
don't.
pick by color, so they can still have sexual selection.
Right.
So there's actually something that we should be saving to file that we're not right now, which is the female preference.
We're not saving. Yeah, we save the preference.
Oh,
when we do, at least in the snapshots, we see the preference. It's usually
yeah. Okay, because it's in the. We may not have put it in the.
It's definitely. Let's see. We got to run that line, right, to just see if it's in the.
Yeah, just run it again. Do dash show. No. Go all the way to the bottom.
The show preference. There it
preference is there. So go up arrow twice, and then on data. At the end, after switches av,
add preference.
Add preference av.
And gang, the reason it's av is because they're evaluated a bunch of times, right? And then we take the average of most of these variables. But of course, things like preference and all of that, it's just the same.
Well, in this file, it's the average across the population, actually.
Oh, it is the average across the population, actually. Yeah, but then also on individuals, when we do snapshots, we show averages
on the individuals,
as well.
like score will be average. Preference won't be average.
Right.
Because an individual says one preference. I mean,
but these are population averages. You're right.
Function.
I misspoke.
If you call it with append, it'll be av. If you call it with set, it'll be a single value.
Gotcha.
That's the only difference.
Yeah. Because I know sometimes that did get me at first when I was looking at the spreadsheets. All right, now we just want to. Oh, we're good. Let's just update our plot here. Boom. All right, so now we should have preferences. There we go.
Interesting.
And it's an average, so they're all. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to have to look at snapshots to see what's going on.
What is the range of their? Oh, because they have 4 colors.
They have 4 colors.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in red, they're just whatever they want to be. They don't give a rat's ass.
Right.
So like the red and the orange, we don't care because everybody's
only
the
one
same
food
color.
type.
So it doesn't matter what you do. The green. In the case of the green, they can select. Well, so I'm curious about how do you determine the range of the preference, or can it be whatever? Do we read a value from 0 to 4?
We read a value from 0 to 4. But what I'm wondering is what happens with when it's less than that. Well, I guess you just won't.
Well, no. What's cool is
the preference.
What's if we're reading a value from 0 to 4 in every case. And it is the case that the yellow and the green are reading a value from 0 to 4. That means that those values are very, very much off of the norm. They're very, very much in disequilibrium from the expected average. Right? The expected average would be 2. But these guys are sitting way down at, much less than 2. Right. So their preference is between food 1 and food 2.
Right. Meaning, which they're not going to use a preference for a food that isn't there.
Right. I mean, if somebody gets
it's never going to be matched. Just never going to be. Matter of fact, I remember when that was at first what I did. That's how because I first did it without it, and I thought they were reading for 4, and then I kept checking the data actually, and they were only doing 0 through 3. So I actually recoded it to 4, checked to make sure they were getting 4, and then doing, food index score 3 when they get 4, right? Because that would be the 4th food type.
Yeah.
And then I also did the end of run things to check that they had all 4, and then stopped them in the runs to make sure that, like, in the middle of the runs they were expressing all 4. But yeah, so they definitely always have the 4, but I didn't do something to limit their preferences to the number of food types.
That's fine. So if they have a preference for a food that doesn't exist, it will simply never be satisfied. No big deal, right? Because
everybody will have 0 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. It's just I prefer food 4. Well, unfortunately, everyone has food 4 set to 0, so
it's random anyway. Yeah.
You don't get anything. Right. So interestingly, when there's only one food type, they could have actually used that as a measure of who ate the most food, but they don't seem, well, actually they do seem to, because the red line is below, but they don't seem to do it when they're doing shape mating. They seem to do it when they're not doing shape mating, because they pulled the red line down.
Right. Also, Stupid Energy, thanks for timing out the sex bot. Appreciate that. I just want to check on it. So yeah, I think they're doing it. This is cool. Do you want to? I guess we're going to rerun with snapshots, right?
So okay, we have to talk about. So before we do that, I want to do another set of plots here. Okay. So quit out of here, and we're going to do something that is going to be informative, but unfortunately, it's going to be really wrong, really hard to look at. So do an up arrow. And now what we're going to do is we're going to back up towards this combined conditions, and we're going to get rid of that. So now every condition is going to get written to its own file. And now you can put this anywhere. So you can put it right here. It doesn't matter. You're going to do dash PLT what?
Like that?
Yep, space. And now you're going to say reps, REPS, enter. So now what it's going to do is it's going to make a separate plot for each condition. So it's going to make a bunch of plots. And rather than seeing the average and error, the 95% confidence for each of these plots, what we're going to see is every single replicate. So this is going to take a hot minute because it has to plot 100 lines
plots
for each plot. So you have a minute.
Yeah. Well, this my dissertation had a lot of these spaghetti plots. Me and Rich called them when you plot every replicate.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I literally when I'm showing them in my presentation, I go, just ignore it. I just have to show you to show that we have the raw data.
Well, so what we want to see is how much variance. This is going to show us how much actual variance, if there are outliers. We know for some of these that there isn't a lot of variance because there isn't a lot. The 95% confidence is very tight, so there cannot be a lot of variance. But what we don't know is whether within the cases where we don't know if the low variance is hiding variance within the individual replicates. And in the cases where there is a higher error, we don't know if these are stable lines, like these are different strategies, or if there's one strategy, if they're just have more noise.
Yeah. If it's actual error, real variability.
The problem is that we can't correlate which replicate is which. So all this is going to do is give us a very gross view of the data. But then what we can do is go in and plot a specific replicate. So I want to do that before we move on to doing more runs. I just want to get as good an idea as possible to see if we want to change anything.
Eventually, what I do with my plots is I just do coloration according to seed, and then I can identify them. But
But with 100 reps, good luck. What I do is I actually iterate over all of them, and then I can step through them by hand. I just make a directory that has 100 files in it, and I just step through them by hand.
You do step through. I've seen you do this.
Because sometimes that's the only way to find something interesting.
Yes, I've thought about that, because you're looking for a rare case a lot of times.
Exactly. It's like, at the end of the day, like the initial investigation, it was like this was a 1 in, like maybe this was like 3 in 1,000 did the thing.
Oh my goodness. And you just look through it. Oh, hey, that's the gig, man.
The thing is, they're all in a directory, and I save them as PNGs, and then you open one and you just write arrow, and you just go, yep. And it's helpful to like say something so that you don't, so you don't fall asleep.
Right.
What was really bad was I did something where I had to watch animation because I was watching the animations because I had to classify the behavior.
Right.
And I eventually came up with a way to actually classify the behavior mathematically. But initially, until I kind of figured out what I was looking for, I was just watching them. And that took hours.
It had to.
I had to watch every single stupid little, that Berry World thing. I had to watch each one. And then if something interesting happened, I would make a note that I have to go analyze it.
Wow.
That was like 2 days. It was just 2 days of watching
You have to say, well, at least it's easy to bookmark, because whichever one you leave up on the screen, you just come back and go to the next one.
Yeah. All right, it should almost be done. What is it doing here? It's doing...
it's probably wrapping up because it's not going through different conditions anymore. Imagine it's rendering the file.
Give us the name.
Oh, still working.
Well, we kind of have to rewrite this software at some point to make these errors go away.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if the verbose would actually tell us which plot it's making. But at some point we'll rewrite this.
Yeah, I actually did my plotting functions to do that. Like, they'd give me, the name, the title, where, and yeah, you can put a nice little repper in it. Like I said, I want to use plot 9, which we could probably use well for most of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what edge cases are.
It's more about I assume you can load your data and plot it. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know you're thinking more upstream though, just to make the default MGraph different. All right, so
yeah. I mean, MGraph is just this tool. Yeah, now we can go look at that same PDF and see what we got. Or sorry, it won't be that. There should be a bunch of them now.
Oh yeah, there should be a bunch of them now. What's going on here? Why is there not a bunch of them?
It's 244.
No, it's not in there.
Go to the bottom. They may be at the bottom.
No, that is the bottom. What's going on?
Do an LS here. I
wonder if it put them all.
Oh, it may have put them on. Yep. We got multiple pages. So zoom out, and then we look at the individual pages. So just make it so one of them fills a page. Go to the top, and we'll just go through it. It's just 8 of them. So
yeah. Okay. So this is the. Okay, and what do we want to look at in these? The preference?
Hold on, I'm trying to make this.
Shouldn't be any switches. There's only one food type.
I want to make this.
Preference also shouldn't matter because there's only one food type.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, now there's 2 food types.
All right, so shape is right around 0. Score is pretty well clustered, although it doesn't go down, but it does go up a little over time. But they get to like 12 to 20. Switches, they figure out how to drop their switches really quickly. And then their preference, we expect to be right in that like 1.5. So it's right in the 1.5 range with some
Why? Because it's either got to be 1, 2, or 0. 0, 1, or 2 for the most part with 2 food types.
Right. 0 is no preference. So,
right.
So they're at 1.5, right? They're right at 1.5. The mass is at 1.5. With note that the bias is above 1.5, which makes sense because the range is 0 to 4.
Right. Yes.
Right. So the bias would be above the bias. The average would be 0 to 4. The average would be 2, and so we expect that the bias would be, if they're not using preference, then we would expect it to be around 2 on average.
Right.
So actually, scroll up to the first one. Do we have that around 2 on average? Preference right around 2.
How to tell?
Right?
Yeah,
like mass. Right?
Like
it's all over the place. It's random, but it's right around 2.
Yeah, probably same thing here. Yeah.
All right. So now where are we? So now we're at C2.
Food type, shape mating. Let's go to shape mating on.
Shape mating on, and we expect this to be tighter. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. So if we look at the score.
Whoa, look at their preference.
Yeah, go up to their score first, though. So we already see what's the first thing? What's the
higher score?
What's the one above score?
Higher score. Shape.
Oh, okay. So their shape is right around 0. So which is either random or it's selected, right? It's hard to say, but but their score is bifurcating. So it looks like there are 2 strategies. There's a strategy which gets them this ever increasing score. And then there's a strategy which is kind of worse, which doesn't really go anywhere. It's around 15. And it looks like what's happening is values are migrating from the score 15, which is a strategy that they figure out early, and they're migrating up into the score 20, which may be that they're figuring out how to do better discrimination and they're getting better ratios.
Yeah, I'm wondering if one of this, you always wonder too if they're stuck with a shape, that's slightly less than the other.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But yeah. I mean, but all that's going to do is change their personal fitness. I won't change their score because the score is going to be based on the ratios.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, what's going on with this?
Well, no. So what we're seeing is that for some of the replicates, and it increases over time. In some of the replicates, we're seeing that there's a preference averaging at 2 with a tight distribution, which is probably everybody wants to mate with 2. There's a preference where everybody wants to mate with 1. And we saw that, right? We saw a number of replicates where everybody was
they were irritating. Yeah, actually, where they just all did the same
thing. But here is the mass of them are sitting right at 0.5. So at the beginning, we see we're all over the place. Then we have this cluster that's around 1.5. And then we start to see these divergences to 2 and to 1. But we also see that the mass kind of focuses down to 1.5.
Right. Which is probably between, which hopefully means there's some crossing.
Preference for 1 and preference for 2, right? This is the two food with shape mating. So
yes, this is the thing where they're probably doing they're going 2 different food types, 2 shapes within each.
That's what we hope.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. So now we're at 3 food, no shape mating. Shape is all over the place, obviously. They're not using it. Score. So now it's 3 foods. So this is harder to get scores. So we get more of these guys at 0 initially.
They get high. They get a little bit higher, but yeah. Then there's these other ones that I guess they don't figure out. Is that what these low guys are?
Yeah, the initial ones. It takes them a long time to get off of 0 or to get off of 1. They're eating the food they land on and nothing else.
I was wondering what this last one is. So that's what 1 is. You drop and you eat, and then that's it.
Never move.
And
never do anything.
These might be the ones with fucked up gate situations too, right?
Well, except the thing is that by generation 6000, everyone figured out the game, and they all kind of land in the same 12.5 strategy.
Yeah.
So they all look like they end up doing about the same thing, give or take.
Right. And is that lighter line? Would that lighter line indicate just fewer runs? So maybe there's one run doing that thing replica way out there to the right. Okay.
Yeah, they were like it looks like at about 2300 we have one. At about 2400 we have one, and then about 3800 it looks like we have two.
Yeah. Okay.
At about the same time, and then at 5500 we have one.
Got you. Yep. And a bunch of laggards early on too. But
I mean the distribution by 1000, most of them have made
figured
the
it out.
jump.
Yeah.
All right, and then we expect switches to sort of mirror. So if you scroll down to switches, we should expect that the density of these higher switches, right, like the density of the high switches correlates with the other one. And if you look really close, you can see that some of these spikes up are correlated with spikes in switching. Like definitely the 55 is correlated with that spike. So it figured out switching. It said, oh, okay, I'll try switching, and then figured out this better strategy. Right? And these two before 4000, same thing. But that's definitely those two replicates.
Yeah, where they needed to figure out switching to get a higher score.
Yep.
So that's probably where if you drop down and there's a bunch of agents, everybody's eating, you got to do something. You can't just expect you to just be sitting in a red patch.
Right, but switching is really bad. I mean, switching is
right, but it's an intermediate to get you somewhere, I guess, for a lot of these populations, and then they figure out, okay, don't switch.
Well, the other thing with switching is that you can get lucky, right? So what happens is your fitness becomes very variable when you do switching, because some of your offspring will, by luck, not switch. And they'll get a high score because they're moving around and eating. But then other ones will get just a terrible score. And the average fitness, the average switches comes out to 10, which means that some of them have 20 switches and some of them have 0. The ones that have 0 are doing amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not a stable strategy, right? Because like half your offspring are lethal. And then in preference, we don't expect, no, actually we kind of do expect preference. And we see they really there are now 3 foods. So there's 1, 2, 3, right? This is the 3 food model.
I think so.
And the average is right around 2. But that doesn't tell us anything because.
Wait, what? Went too far. Yeah.
The average is right around 2. Why is the average around 2?
They can go 0, 1, 2, or 3. I don't know. What would you expect it to be? The
previous one was preference at 1.5, or was it?
Right.
Oh yeah, okay. The mass was at 1.5. Okay.
So now it's going up.
Being at 2, the thing is that 2 is the average anyway. So we don't know if they're using preference or if they're actually like distributing among their 3 values. We'd have to look at individuals.
Yes.
Now there is a thing we can do to check. There is one thing we can do before we
now with 3 food types. I expect them to go 3 different food types, 2 sexes within each.
Well, I mean, we're going to have some 1s, some 2s, and some 3s, and so it would average out to 2.
Yeah, I mean that's.
But if they're just selecting random, it will also average out to 2.
Correct.
So, all right, now we're going to go to shape mating with 3 foods. Wait, scroll up. This is shape mating with 3 foods?
Yes.
Interesting. So they look... Oh, no, that's pretty tight, actually. Because it's between -0.1 and 0.1.
Yeah,
so it looks
right
like they're...
0.
Right, and it's a pretty tight distribution. It doesn't look like it but it's tight from the beginning.
Yeah, it is. It's just that we're zoomed into it. It's a scale scope thing.
But nobody's really diverging, which is that's the critical thing.
No, they're doing shapes.
Score looks very similar.
some laggards, but they
to the
figured
previous
out.
one.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's what you'd expect. Maybe a little bit higher, but around the same, right? Based on the other data
And
we
then
saw.
your switches here, again, we have these correlations where they have to do switching. Okay, here, now we end up in this interesting situation with these 2.5 and 1.5 and 2. So now they're definitely focusing. There's that one replicate that goes hard on 3. There's a couple replicates, looks like 3 or 4 at the end, that go really hard on 1.
Right.
And then we have ones that look like they are using 1 and 2, but not 3. We have ones that are using 2 and 3, but not 1. That's the upper and lower. And then we've got the ones that are 2, which are either not using it at all, or they're actually using all 3.
Yeah,
Won't know unless we look.
they're either using all 3, not using it all, or they're all using 2 in some cases.
Or they're all using 2. But if they were all using 2, we would expect it to be tighter.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm just saying if some of the reps in there are tighter, we probably can't tell that right now.
Right. So
Yeah.
if we plotted every rep, we could probably glean some information from that.
Yeah. But we should. But this kind of what we want to do next is do you do stuff like this with snapshots on? Right, you turn snapshots on and then.
I don't think we should yet. I think we should analyze the individual reps more, because the problem with turning the snapshots on is we're going to generate so much data that it's going to become really difficult to analyze.
Okay.
I think we'd actually be better off updating the code to have it create additional reports. So we could create a report that tells us how many preference 1, how many preference 2, how many preference 3, how many preference 4. And it just gives us those numbers. And then we don't have to read in all the snapshots and analyze them, but it does require updating the code.
Okay. Now, what about?
Well, let's look at 4 before we get.
So one question I had though: would you do a similar thing to report shapes?
Yes. Yeah, we can put them in the same file.
Okay.
So we make our own CSV files that look at those population averages.
Got it.
Okay, so we have one. They're sitting around 0 with a higher variance. One of them goes to this big number, but they're not using shape mating.
Well, they're all around 0. Yeah. Because
yeah, except that one, but they're not using shape mating, so that was just drift.
Right.
Scores. Okay, this is even harder for them to get off the line because because it's
and is this saying
foods.
most of them don't, or there's not a most of them, but there's a significant portion that never.
There's
do.
a lot that never get
do.
off.
They just hard block it.
So it's a very bimodal distribution of scores. We see the same thing, that there's an upset in switches that typically is correlated with the discovery of the better strategy. And then preferences are sitting around 2.
But there's no shape mating, so this is all over.
But there's no shape mating,
well,
I mean, it still matters. It still matters. Preferences still matter.
Oh, yeah, the preference still matter. They're just not doing
to
shapes.
discriminate so that they get better types.
Right,
to keep the ratios equal. But this doesn't really tell us. There could be some using shape. Here we would expect 2.5 if they were making use of all 4. And maybe there's a signal in here, but I can't tell.
Irreducible complex Markov brains. Yeah, stupid hard energy. The x-axis is, we say updates, but generations. They're the same thing. In MABE, they're the same thing. In Avita, they're not. In MABE, they're the same thing. Go ahead.
So this is highly constrained because it's between 0.1 and minus 0.1. So they're definitely using shapes. They're constraining their shapes. Go down to score. And again, it's hard to learn.
Right.
There are some differences, but they're not completely obvious.
So shape mating isn't making it. So it's not the shape mating breaking it. It's just that they already suck at this.
Yeah, it's for foods. It's hard. Now here, though, we are getting a distinct band at 3 in the preference. I'm already off switches.
Oh, you're already off switches. Okay.
We're getting a distinct band at 3. So that's a bit interesting. So that could be that they're using 2, 3, 4, or it could be that they're actually picking 3. We don't know if there's a distinct band at 2 or 2.5. It would be 1.
3, 6, 10 divided by 4 would be 2.5. So if they were using all 4, we'd expect the line at 2.5. And I can't tell from this data if there is one. Okay. All right. This was interesting. So there's definitely like a lot going on here. So this is cool. So let's kill this for the moment. And now what I want you to do is do an up arrow. We're gonna break our files again. I like these. I like the data that we're looking at. Go under reps and just put in rep range 101, 10001, 10001. And this is going to make that same thing again. It's just going to have just the first rep for each one.
Done. It's going to be done fast.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Which condition do you want to look
at? Just zoom out so we can see more of them together, because now they're simple enough we can look at them together. So no shape, score has a little bump at the end. What's the third one?
Switches. No switches.
No switches. It's only one food, and then their preferences all over the place. Okay. So now we have here we have shape mating,
but we only have one food type.
Right. We have shape mating. Scroll up for a second. Are the shapes more constrained than they were? We expected in the second one. Yeah, the shapes are more constrained. The range is smaller.
Yes.
It goes from 0.4 to minus 0.4 and it wanders. And then the next one they're constrained to 0.05
but that's constraining the average, which really means that they're probably doing the extremes, and they're averaging out to a less variable distribution around 0.
Right, they are unnaturally.
Yes, they're unnaturally constrained because of the selection for the opposite type. All right, so then we want to go down to here. Two food types. No shape mating.
Expected, switches, sure.
Don't do
preference.
Those.
So interestingly, look at this section right here in the middle. We're around 4,000, where preference goes to 1.5. In fact, it looks like it's slightly below 1.5, but it's very close to 1.5. This may have actually been a period of stability, and look how the score stabilizes in that same period.
Right.
So this may have actually been that they were using sexes during, and this is where this is going to be hard to analyze, because this is a temporal effect, right? There was a period where they were like, "Oh, we're really into it," and then they were like, "Yeah, we're not doing it anymore."
Yeah. So for us to analyze when it happens and what happens, we might have to go not just through all the replicates, but you've got to really look through this temporal effect. So you've got to look, because they might have only been doing it for a period where you won't detect it with end of run data.
All right, keep going. Let's see what happens when we get to. So now we're going to turn on shape mating.
Yep.
And we have more constrained. We do better on the score. They sort of like look how the noise on the score goes away.
Yeah.
And now preference is a preference hone in on 1.5. It does not. They just go all in on 1.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, which we saw. So this is interesting. Like, why is this? Why are they not honing in on 1.5? 1.5 is just the better solution.
Well, that's just this one. This
I know. So, all right, keep going. Let's look at. So this is going to be 3 foods, no shape, all over the place. Score goes blah, switches goes blah.
Yep,
preference is
2.
Around 2. Now it's got a period that's pretty random, but then it's stabilized.
But there's no shape mating on this one, so.
Yeah, but there's still preference, right? They still.
I keep forgetting there's still preference. Yeah. There's still preference.
If they can get reds select for greens, greens select for blues, blues select for red, red select for green, green select for blue, blue selects for red, they're going to do better, right? They're going to maintain their ratios and they're going to do better.
Right.
So there's
There'll always
there's
be
definitely
food
an
and somebody to
advantage.
screw.
Yeah, there's an advantage to working this out, even without the shape mating, in terms of stability, right?
Right.
A group that does that will beat a group that doesn't.
Now,
Here's
this is
one.
an interesting score.
Well, I mean, so
It just take
so
a while
they're-
to figure it out and get past
yeah,
two.
they're highly constrained. So it looks like they're playing the shape mating game like from minute one, because they're within, minus 0.1 to 0.1, right? So they're highly constrained.
Yeah.
They finally, at generation 21, 22, 2300, figure out how to play the switching game. And wow, look at the preference. It just zooms right in on 2. Is that 2? Is that actually
It's 2. It's 2.
Oh yeah, that's 2. That's dead on 2. So they either are all preferring 2, or we're seeing like they're going 3-way.
Yes, and then it's averaging out to 2.
And look at the switches. Look how low the switches go. Go up to their scores.
Yeah, so they're definitely
Scores
speciated.
go up, and their scores go up associated with that drop. So they may actually be doing exactly what we want them to be doing. They may be doing
3 different.
Oh, but they can't. There's only 3 foods. So how would they?
Because sometimes they just separate into 3 different subpopulations with 2 shapes in each subpopulation.
Oh, and they
with the
just have
leg-
to get lucky.
Yeah, well,
And they just accept
I
that it's
think
either
with
a
the
perfect result or an imperfect result.
Yeah, I just think too with leg size 8, right? They probably are going to hit somebody that's the right one.
Yeah, but half the time they're going to get the right color, but the wrong shape. And they just have to accept that they're going to fail to produce an offspring.
Yeah.
But the other half of the time, they're going to produce it with 100% success. So,
yeah.
All right.
That's
So
like
these guys figure out how to play. Oh, no, these guys never figure it out. They get to fitness 1 and they never go above. So they eat. This is the boringest thing in the world.
Yeah, they drop in, eat, and they
eat whatever food they land on.
Yeah.
Their switches don't matter because they don't. Their preference doesn't matter because they don't.
right.
Shape mating is highly constrained. They figure out score only after 7,000 generations. Looks
They
pretty
take a
normal.
long time.
And preference is at 2.5.
So it shifts. It's doing. I don't know if that means it's just shifted to that, but that could be another interesting case, right?
Well, it looks like they weren't using preference, and then they start using it. And whether that's actually 2 or not.
Now, what would be interesting with other ones like this is it'd be interesting to see if 4 ends up being a case where, there's really big differences in score and stuff. Like it's just one.
Well, we're
graph,
gonna
but
see
that
that.
would be. Yeah, I know that would be.
I mean, the thing is, if we
cool.
can find a case of 4 where red picks for blue, blue picks for green, green picks for orange, orange picks for red, and 2 of them are male and 2 of them are female, or 2 of them are shape 1 and 2 of them are shape -1. That would be really cool.
Yeah, and it would be crazy if that
Because we would
actually
have
helped
4
them
mating
get
types.
over the score hump.
Well, we would have 4 mating types at that point.
Yeah. No, that'd be
Right?
cool on
We'd
its
say,
own.
look, if you have 2 niches, this can push you into having 2 mating types. If you have 4 niches, it actually pushes you into 4 mating types.
Yep.
And that's kind of cool. So, okay, I want to quit out of here. I want to do one more thing. Do an up arrow. And now, at the end here, just add dash file name, just dash file and space max.csv. So by default, it looks for pop.csv. If you do max CSV, it's going to use the max files. Now, something is interesting. I expect something interesting to happen, but run this.
Yeah.
And, just change it to preference and shape instead of preference have and shape have. The other 2 are the same.
Totally makes sense. The other one is looking at population averages. This is looking for the max individuals. That max individual has a shape and a preference, not the average of them, but they are evaluated multiple times in Berry World, and so the other statistics will have averages.
Yep. And so the averages that we've been looking at for those have been the
do we
averages
want this with the max, or with just the first reps, or?
No, with the first reps. So now we're looking at the same reps. We're going to be looking at the same reps, but now we're looking at max. And I expect on some of these to see something. We'll see if I'm right. And we do. And this is pretty cool. So now, unfortunately, what would be really nice is to have the actually go back to that window and run it again. Just do up arrow twice and run it again, but use a different file name.
File.
Just do another up arrow so you get back to that one, and then change the file name to be like av or whatever, wherever the file name
where's
is.
the file name? Oh, here we go. Save name, shape test.
Just call it like shape test 1 avs.
Something. Oh, this is the old one. Okay.
Avs, and then get rid of the dash file at the end.
All right. Right.
Okay, so now get both of these open next to each other so we can compare them side by side.
All right. Here, let's do this. This is not gonna. Windows not gonna do them neatly. I have a snap tool, but whatever. All right.
Yeah. I know.
This should be fine.
And just get them zoomed to the same size so we can compare apples to apples.
All right. Close? Yeah. All right. And what do we want to look at? Start at the top.
So just go to the top. We're just going to run through them again because we kind of have a sense for what we're looking at because we just looked at it.
All right. So the one on the left is max, and it's just going to show you, in this case, it's just going to show you the individual with the highest preference at each state.
No, with the highest score. It's going to show you the stats for the individual with the highest score in the population.
Oh, it's always the stats for that individual with the highest score. Okay.
Got it. And so what we see here is that here, you see how these numbers are on the left, they're rapidly vacillating between -1 and 1. And on the right, they're at 0. Yeah, that's because the max is either shape 1 or shape -1 in each rep. It's equally good to be -1 or 1.
Got you.
And so this is telling us it's not that they're at 0. This is telling us
they're doing the
all
shape extremes. Yeah.
So now, if we go down, we should see something interesting in the preferences. So this is the same thing. And now if you scroll down to the preferences on the right for the same one, right? So these preferences are wandering all over the place. And so, I mean, this isn't terribly interesting because this was only one food. So let's go to the next one.
Right.
All right. So now if you look at the preferences,
shape meeting.
well, we can look at shape first. I guess look at shape first. So here, if you look at the max, there seems to be some consistency in the max at certain points. Some points it's oscillating a lot. And at certain points, it's kind of like biased to a certain location. Like it's better to be a 0, or it's better to be a 1, or it's better to be a -1.
Right.
Right. Because it's persistent. And then if we scroll down though to the preferences,
but there's no shape meeting in this one.
Yeah, but there's still preferences.
Right. Yeah. It's always preferences. Yeah.
Right?
So then. Good.
So we see that there's that period around 4,000, even though the average was 1.5, it was better to be a 2.
Oh, I see. Right, because
that's so there were enough ones, even though it was better to be a 2. There were enough ones to bring the average down to 1.5.
Well, it's better to prefer 2.
It's better to prefer a 2. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's better to prefer a 2. Right.
But
and
there's
so,
enough that prefer 1 to bring it down, so that the average is not. So so there is variability here.
Yep. All right. So now we're going to go into 2 foods
with shape mating. And there you see the oscillating.
Yeah. So now they immediately pick up on shape mating. We see that the max score goes to that.
Is either always a 0 or negative, or sorry, -1 or 1, pretty much.
No, notice on the max, it's very subtle, around 4,000. The score goes down by a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Right at 4,000. Notice that on the other side, on the average, the score goes up.
Yes.
So they changed their strategy in a way that the most lucky individuals got slightly lower score, but the exchange was a much more stable strategy and a higher scoring on average strategy.
It almost probably increasing the mating pool, right? Less elitism or something.
Well, so let's see what happened to switches and let's see what happened to the preferences. So around that time, they switched to really preferring 1, strangely. It's like the opposite of what I would thought. They were kind of oscillating between 2 and 1 with kind of a bias to 2.
Right.
But then they switched to a bias to 1, and somehow this made things better. I don't know how that works. That's weird.
Could be more 1s, more food available for the population.
Yeah, but then we would expect that these are individuals who had preference for 1. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. This doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
All right, but now I want to see the 3 and the 4 because that's where shit's really going to get interesting. All right, so shapes are relevant because there's no shape mating. Score doesn't do anything interesting, so I don't care. But switches. All right, so switches is very much
where there's a max person. They eat a lot and switch a lot, and they made them the max, but it didn't really affect the.
I mean, they have 2 spikes where they ate 3, where they switched like 3 times.
Yeah, who cares?
But the rest of the time they don't switch.
They don't switch.
Max just doesn't switch. But interestingly, there's a stable point a little bit before 6,000 to a little bit after 8,000, which is where the variance is low on the average, where it's about as good to be preferring 1 as it is to prefer 2 as it is to prefer 3.
So that could be the period in there where they're actually doing the damn thing.
Yeah, that looks pretty stable. And then later on, it's better to be a 2 or a 1 and not so much a 3 for whatever reason. Who knows? And these are long enough periods. It's 1,000 generations. It's a long enough period that, it should matter. We're only sampling every 10 generations, so there could be some sampling error. All right, what is this?
3 food type shape mating on.
All right, so wow. So 3 food types. Okay, so I'm going to predict that what happened here is that they played the shape mating game first, and they didn't care about eating food. And then it was as good to be -1 as it was to be 1. But then, at some point, there was a subpopulation that had shape -1. It wasn't what you said. It was a subpopulation that had shape -1, and there were 2 subpopulations that had shape 1. And they did a circle thing or something, right? Where both of the shape 1s prefer the one with -1, and the -1 maybe made it random. I don't know, because it didn't matter. They were going to get lucky 2/3 of the time. Because look how good it is to be a -1 later.
Yeah, it's weird. It definitely, it's like the max is. That's the thing. That's the thing. What happens where they're mating with something that has usually lower fitness, I bet.
Yeah, but like yeah, okay, keep going. What does the preferences look like then?
They stabilize on 2.
Well, no. So that's the individuals who are shape 0 are selecting for 2. So we don't know the correlation between the shape and the preference right now. Go down here. I want to see, and what's the average look like for this? The average is at 2. Interesting. So maybe everybody selects for 2. Maybe it's just everybody selects for 2, and the 2 types that are 1 are also. And I don't know. Man, this is going to take more analysis.
It is. Oh man. All right, here's 4 food tapes.
This one's not interesting because they never get it out of the gate.
Yeah, this one, their score is dog shit the whole time. All right, and then boom. Now this one they do
They're heavily using shape.
Definitely the whole time.
All right, so all that matters here is preference. And this is 4 foods.
Max don't switch for the most part.
So at the end, it's equally between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Max individuals 2 or 3.
Okay. Well, I need to run.
Yeah.
On Wednesday,
no
what I'd like to do on Wednesday is actually go into the
optimizer and add new code for the stuff,
the
extra stuff. Yeah.
No, we can do it in the optimizer. We'll do it in the optimizer. So we're gonna go in the optimizer and we're gonna add new code to
Max and Pop.
Stupid or energy. There's a whole liturgy of stuff about different animals and evolution of shape.
Penis shape.
And it gets into sexual conflict, and the situation with dolphins is fascinating. The situation with ducks is fascinating.
Situation with cats is fucked up.
I don't even know cats.
Oh, they have like barbed.
I don't want to.
The males have like barbed.
That's
rapey.
They should stop doing that.
Yeah, penis barbs. Just looking at penis barbs. Oof. Yeah, it's a adaptation for coercion.
The question I kind of have, so I did this work started because
this lady we need to talk about. Do you remember? We got to figure out her name because we got to pull her for our lit review.
Oh, well, there's that. We'll get to that. No, but this work started because I was interested in a question about hybrid comparability, like hybrid stability. So basically, the idea was, if I have obligate sex but no preferences, will the population evolve such that, and I create this berry world, so I get these two, I kind of get these species, these 2 different types. Will it evolve such that a mating between 2 of the same type is higher fitness than a mixed pair? And it ends up that if I run it long enough, I got very, very minimal signal, but yes, in fact, it was better to be a non-hybrid pair or to have non-hybrid parents. But while I was working on that, I realized that I wasn't sure if it was working. So I said, well, okay, let me put in sexual selection because that's gonna give me some more information as to whether my model is working. And when I did that, usually I would get a case where the red individual selected for red and the blue individual selected for blue, and nothing terribly interesting. But sometimes I would get red selects for blue and blue selects for red. And that looks very much like sexes, right? The red ones only want to mate with blue ones. The blue ones only want to mate with red ones. And you have almost no hybrids in this case. And it balances the resource. And then this hypothesis came up that said, could the fact that you have 2 niches in your environment, normally you would say if you have 2 niches, you would expect the development of 2 species. But the question became, could you solve the need for 2 species by having 2 sexes? And could it be the case that sexes is an alternative to speciation? So you basically are going down the speciation route, except before you make that left turn and become 2 separate species that are genetically isolated,
you actually turn to sex. And that was kind of the idea that was, for me, the nucleus of this particular work.
It's really interesting because you do sort of see this with animals where you get two types of animal in one species, right? They have different diets, they have different behaviors, and different brains, right? And so, yeah, this is a...
Yeah, I mean, some of those
really
fishes where the male's body, like, completely atrophies. You know, like they're these tiny little shriveled things that barely have a brain, and the females are these huge things, and the males just attach to them and like insert semen, and that's their entire existence.
Yep. And
so it's, you know,
they
it's
still don't get eaten afterwards. So
Jay is here to do all the lit review because I do more pure theoretical evolution. So I am not an expert on the theory. I mean, I'm reasonably well read, but like I don't know the full breadth. And to be honest, I don't have time to learn the full breadth. So this is why.
And no one can do these experiments in nature. So that's
no, definitely not.
Easy way to test.
But it is difficult to tie these ideas into a way that is accessible to a biologist.
Yeah. So
they're very. This is all really very theoretical.
Yes. But I used to teach this stuff, so it's pretty right up my alley. So we're good to go. Cliff will be back with us on Wednesday. We'll mod up this code, and give me that lady's name because I'm definitely gonna.
We'll look her up.
Yeah, we'll look her up as well.
We just have to look up iBio, like the past talks, because I think she talked at iBio. It's either natural science or iBio.
Okay. All right, Cliff. Thanks, bud. We'll see you next week.
All right, this was interesting.
Yeah.
You have a good
time. All right, have a good one. See you later. All right. Woo. All right. We had some stuff to get into today. I guess let's do that. And I guess I'll meet with Rob at 5. So it is Monday. Let me go ahead and we'll take a quick break. I should take a quick communion break, and we'll get going. So let me, yeah. All right, cool. I just need to come up with the on-the-fly game plan. All right. First things first, let's head back to the ranch. Get that going. All right, guys, this is what it looks like when you log in Gather, right? You always change your avatar. I don't care what you change it to. Just change it, make it look like you or what you wish you looked like. I don't care. Set your microphone input and output. Always check your settings. Check your camera. Make sure your camera looks decent. Make sure the framing is decent. Make sure your camera isn't way up here like this. My students do this shit sometime. What are you doing with your camera? Make sure your camera isn't pointed way down at your desk and then we can't see. This is not what people need to be seeing of me. Boom. Nice framing. Usually, you can start with the back of your office chair as a rough guide, right? Because your head normally is about the height of the back of your office chair, right? I just taught you a composition secret. All right, composition secret. You don't know what to do. You're leaning forward, okay? Get the top of your chair in good framing. That's generally going to do you pretty good for your camera. Boom, there we go. Set off the balance of my monitor here. All right. Boom, punch your way in. Now you're in. All right. And we're at the Pinochle Lounge. I'm up in here. Let me get Myron Bot's ass up in here. Myron Bot. All right. Now, look, I'm going to show y'all something fun. I think AR did this. Yeah, make sure you're not naked. There you go. All right. So I think AR put this in here or something. I don't know, but check this out, y'all. If I go, I'm just at the bridge, at the front of the map. If I go follow Most Grateful Apostle, watch what Myron Bot does. Watch this route. I just found this out today. Watch this shit, y'all. Watch this. Where is he going? Where are you going? It's like the new route. Look, he went through the secret passage that AR made. Look. Oh, man. I'm gonna have AR, we're gonna hook up a little spotlight tile so you can use that little hole in the wall there to escape to the front too. That shit is dope, man. That's something AR built right there. That's some AR shit. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That's some AR shit. UC Love is in the house. Appreciate all y'all. All right, so I got Myron Bot on the spotlight tile. All right, so that's me. I use 2 accounts at once. You could, I'm gather forward, baby. All right, so I'm gonna go grab myself a shot so we can get into our communion, take our little communion break, and then we'll get into a little program I got for y'all for today. So yeah, give me 1 sec. Bear with me. Appreciate y'all. I gotta grab some alcohol. Just give me 1 sec. It'll be faster this way. Sing the song. Sing the goddamn song. Don't you want to get fucked up? Stop acting like I don't know the song. You're supposed to keep it on loop. Don't you want to get fucked up? Now, of course, gang, I'm talking about alcohol fucked up. And if you act like you don't know the goddamn song, you're going to get fucked up in real life. Because I'm going to tell Uncle Bobby that you've been out here watching me and Uncle Bobby for months, and you still don't know the song. And then Uncle Bobby's going to do some of that, what's this shit, Kaju Kenpo on you, the Kaju Kenbo, that's what it's, Kaju Kenbo. He's going to do that shit on you, that 7th degree black belt, self-defense instructor shit. Probably snap your neck in like 3.5 places in about 2 seconds just because you didn't know the song. It's a very, don't you want to get fucked up? It's a very easy song. I don't know how you don't know the goddamn song by now. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get into this communion ritual. Please raise your glasses and hold on to your asses. Through him, with him, in the unity of the flying man. All glory and honor is yours who flight for our sins forever and ever. You may drink. And now it's time for our communion song, which comes to us from Foy Vance.
I don't know the name of the song, actually, but I know the song, and so will you.
Oh, I look forward to this. Foy Vance, take it away.
Now, if you guys don't know what the hell just happened, all that happened is that here on Pocket Locker, I have to turn off Myron Bot. That's one of the features we love about Gathers. You have your own mix. I got to take Myron Bot and shut his ass off so he doesn't echo. That's all. I need friends with those type of benefits, Super Energy.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. everybody knows your name. Well, all those nights when you got no lights and the check is in the mail, and your little angel on the counter by its tail. Your third fiance didn't show. Well, sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and you're always glad they came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, you get out of bed and the coffee's dead. The morning isn't looking bright. You shrink right off to Europe and he doesn't even write. Your girlfriend says she's not a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
And those of you that haven't seen Cheers or haven't seen Cheers in a long time need to get with us and gather. We watch Cheers pretty much most nights we're going through it. I think we're on season 3, and we'll probably be watching some Cheers, probably watch a couple episodes tonight after Monday Night Football. We normally do it sort of in between whatever we've got going on that night, be it a sporting event or, some whatever fun thing we're doing and gather, and then the movies. So we watch some shows. We're watching Cheers right now, and also Weeds. We just started season 3 of Weeds. So join us in the gather if you haven't already. If you need the password and link, you can get them in Discord. So go ahead, join our Discord. Let us know who you are in the guest room, and we can get you hooked up and gather. Just let us know. Send me a message. I'd like to join you and gather, and we'll get you set up. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to, one of the things that I do best. I hate to say it, there just aren't a lot of people out here quite as skilled as I am when it comes to this category of content. I mean, in this genre, I just don't know who does it better than me. I got to be honest. I'm trying to be humble here, but I don't. Who the fuck is? I don't know. But let's get into it, y'all. It is time to R.M. Brown and chill. I'm like the fastest rising star on R.M. Brown and chill. I'm pretty much nobody's better at R.M. Brown and chilling than I am.
Hey, guys, we have a saying at this channel, which is
Daddy can do no wrong.
Today we're going to look at one of our favorite characters that we like to go back to. And guys, let's admit it. Let's admit what this really is. It's making fun of a demented old man.
We're giving Grandpa a little bit of a hard time.
That's right, my man.
So, guys, I have a question for you about how fucked up the world is right now. How did you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving? And did you ever expect that the racist uncle in the world's family would be Kanye West? I mean, what the fuck is up with that? I mean, seriously, it's like if you didn't have a racist uncle around the table, I guess trying to ask you to pass the gravy or whatever the fuck, You could actually just pop out what the fuck is going on with Kanye West right now? Like Kanye and Trump and Captain White Supremacy literally provided the Thanksgiving sham and shame that provided all of us with the necessary water cooler talk to make it through these awkward conversations with our family and friends that I actually skipped. Let me highly recommend you do what I do next Thanksgiving, which is don't go home. Don't go visit like weirdo friends from college or coworkers or all these people you really don't need to spend any extra time around, and instead cook yourself whatever the fuck you want to eat and make it amazing. Link up with the gang and gather and actually eat your fucking Thanksgiving dinner and spend your Thanksgiving with the gang, the people that you actually know, love, and actually want to spend more time with. Yeah, I that's what I did. My fucking Thanksgiving was amazing. If you did that with us, your Thanksgiving was probably amazing too. If you didn't do that, your Thanksgiving probably fucking sucked. Now, whose fault is that?
Past week, they have reinstated
Don't make the same
one of
mistake
the
next
greats
year,
of our
folks.
time. He
Link
has
up with the gang and
3.5 million
Friendsgiving for
followers
life.
on Twitter. He is a Stephen King character come to life. He's slowly losing his mind.
The voices in his head are, all this crap.
But thank God they let his Canadian ass back on Twitter because, man, we just need to be exposed to these absolute pearls that this guy's posting.
Listen, we need the Jordy B wisdom.
Take a look.
According to a research...
Oh, hell yeah. We got Tulsi. Yeah. Her famous quote is...
Vampires.
I'm not going to lie. Tulsi's good for like a good MILF leaning towards GILF hate fuck. You know what I mean? I could see Brazzers doing things with her. But was anybody really surprised when Tulsi was like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go work for Fox now and be a right winger"? Like this, like Tulsi, we already knew. We already knew. Just save it. We don't care. You're cute, but you're incompetent. Nobody gives a shit.
Cool people, are they not?
Here we go.
Paper that was recently published to the Journal of the American Medical Association Pediatrics show that there has been a 389% increase in children receiving mastectomies.
Whoa.
From 2016 through 2019. I want to say that again.
That's
children
weird.
receiving mastectomies.
Okay.
The UCLA School of Law's Williams Institute published a study that found the number of transgender youth in America has doubled.
So of the probably close to 100, and that's not even an exaggeration, of tweets that this guy what is his name? Jordan Peele has posted just in the past couple days. This one falls into one of like three categories: anti-vax, anti-gay and transgender people, and climate change is fake. And
this is what I mean about these fucking people. They could literally say anything on Earth. You could talk about anything on Earth. Or you could do my suggestion, my favorite thing for these people to do. You could shut the fuck up and simply say nothing at all. Yet they always just push the button. They always like push the red button. They just gotta push the red button. I gotta trigger people on the hot button issues. They deserve every bit of wrath coming to them.
I'm not even joking. Go look at Jordan Peterson's Twitter feed, and they're pretty much all one of those three. So he retweets this beautiful Tulsi clip. And we got to give it up to Tulsi. We got to love Tulsi. We got to love Tulsi.
The Tulsi girl.
Because she's 41. She's 41 years old, and she's still trying to figure out, who am I?
What do I believe? What do I really believe?
Tulsi's trying to figure her crap out, trying to find her identity, Oh, I'm anti-imperialist.
Not gonna give into
Republican,
maybe patriarchy of either party.
Like trans kids. Tulsi Gabbard basically has Jinkos on and a Dallas Cowboys jersey and a fedora. Her parents are like, just let her wear it out. She's trying to figure herself out. So we're doing the transgender satanic panic. But this is the funniest part. He's like, oh, they're turning all the kids transgender, and at Justin Trudeau and at Prime Minister of Canada appears on Canada's Drag Race.
Exactly.
From reading this post,
it sounds like apologist on science. Love discussing sausage and sausage recipes, but have never actually ran a kitchen, never even cleaned a pan. Exactly.
I think Jordan Peterson might think that drag queens and transgender people is the same thing.
Whatever they are, they need to be covered head to toe so they can avoid temptation. Thank you. Bye-bye. That's me, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, I've clearly put a lot of time and energy into this. Something I'm real mad about. Oh, boy. I'm real mad about this one.
So, yeah, this is one of Jordy's main causes is he's really upset about drag queens on TV, on Canadian TV. I really don't think Jordy's the one to be policing fashion crimes, okay? This is the guy who dresses like a puppet. Now, let's be honest.
Seriously.
He dresses like a puppet. And he,
all right, guys.
not to bring this up.
I got to fight the hangries. I'm going to get some cereal. Be right back.
But we've seen this before. This is the guy who went on Canadian TV years ago with wearing a fedora and a gangster outfit. This guy, of all the things you could be pissed off about at this Justin Trudeau guy, that he's a right-wing piece of turd, right-wing neoliberal guy, Jordy Peterson is pissed off that this guy went on a drag TV show.
A challenge! I bet the Babylon Bee satirist can't top this.
He was definitely dressed like a puppet when he posted this. And what he's saying that I guess the Babylon Bee, this stupid piece of crap website, what he bets that they can't satirize is Justin Trudeau says, "Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you're doing because you're making a difference. You're showing people around the world that you can be who you are and that you can be proud of it." He's talking about drag queens. Jordan Peter's like,
I bet even the Babylon Bee could satirize this. He's saying that they can be themselves. Can you believe this?
Here's another amazing one in the same, again, he's posting about this again and again and again. Hey, at Justin Trudeau. I'm going to start doing that. Hey, at Joe Biden.
Hey, at Joe Biden, why is ice cream so delicious? Why can't I stop eating it?
Hey, Justin Trudeau. Hey, at Justin Trudeau. Been following what's happening with the Tavistock Clinic lawsuit? Again, he's responding to the same post where this Justin Trudeau guy is saying thank you for the drag queens for letting him on their TV show. And Jordan Peterson posts a link to a lawsuit where some phony baloney fraud ambulance chasing lawyer is trying to get people on board to sue a hospital that supposedly does, transgender surgeries. So I guess what Jordan Peterson is saying is, hey, Prime Minister of this country, there's this wave, it's this panic going across the world of all the kids turning transgender. I think we gotta pause on putting drag queens on TV because the kids see that and they say, "Ooh, look at that." So, sorry, Mr. President, but we got to put that... I mean, literally that's what he's saying. We got to put that on hold. That shouldn't be on TV because of the fact that of transgender. This man taught people in a university, in a major University of Toronto. Then my man, again, this is like going to college. What is the professor? What does the Gustick Gibbon professor have to teach us? And continuing his drag queen panic, he retweets a drag storytime event somewhere called Terryberry.
Everything was fine in the town of Terryberry
until the drag queens took over.
Now there's dancing and fun on every street corner.
And as white suburban Christians, we hate that. We hate fun. We live to just be sort of miserable, disgusting pukes who everybody hates in the whole world. And this video's been going around, and Jordan Peterson says, "Poor Kermit! Poor Kermit! Weak, poor Kermit!" Whatever you want to call them, they love this kind of stuff. They're passing this around. And some lady in Jordan Peterson's comments says, literally, what is even objectionable about this? A person wearing a costume is reading to children. Okay, and the comments are just like, the people who are pissed off are just like, they go, sure. And then this guy goes, naive. And then this other person goes, hand face palm or whatever. They never explain what they're so upset about. But most people don't believe this. This is not the online lunatics who are really upset about drag queen story hours and all this stuff. They are, a minority of kooks and lunatics. But really, I would say that these people who really believe this, they are the closest to real cyborgs that we have, okay? We're all kind of cyborgs. Joe Rogan. We're all...
Guys. Whoops. Chocolate caramel Captain Crunch. It's like this new thing. It's really cool. You should try it. It's really good. Also, Jordan Peterson is just a fuckface. And I love videos like this because beyond just showing that this guy's a fucking idiot, it really shows, like I said, this is what these people are about. It's no longer this thing where, like, their hate and their bigotry and their biases are just sort of ancillary side effects of their worldview. Like, it's a feature, not a bug. Like, this is what they're about. And it's kind of just disgusting. I feel the same way now about Doug. Like, it's kind of disgusting that people want to convince me how smart these people are when they're clearly just fucking awful.
Cyborgs, man. We're all kind of cyborgs, whatever, you get it. But the people who really believe that drag queens are they're around every corner, they are truly cyborgs because their beliefs are just the computer. Oh, what does the computer say? That's about everything I believe. Is there any sort of critical application out in the real world, whether or not any of this is true? Nope. Zero. Computer is here. The beliefs of the computer is here. Okay? Well, of course I am. That's why these people are so weird when you see them out in the real world, like that Nick Fuentes guy or whatever. These people who are just computer, everything that they believe.
This is the guy that was with Kanye, the white supremacist that Kanye took to Trump's house.
Even think is just straight from the computer here, and when you see them out in the real world, it just doesn't kind of make sense. They seem a little, they're like, to the sun and all this. Yeah, you're cyborg. You've meshed. You've become too enmeshed with the computer. Take a break, you lunatic, you idiot. They look at the computer and they say,
Daddy can do no wrong.
So Jordy's posting all this. He's getting all worked up. He's doing this. He's doing that about these drag queens. And then he has to face a shocking.
I agree, Stupid Whore Energy. Criminally underviewed and underrated. But we'll get there.
UK. Jesus could have been trans.
And just remember that when we get there, there's going to be lots of trolls and annoying people. And we're going to reminisce on these times as the good old days before all the lunatics showed up.
Gender. Oh, wow. Claims Cambridge Dean. Oh, wow. Oh. I don't know if Jesus was transgender. Okay, Jordan Peterson's getting his little puppet suit. Jordan Peterson's getting his little puppet suit in a bunch over this one. I don't know if Jesus was transgender, but Jesus definitely had their pronouns. Oh, I want to be called the Father. Okay, Jesus. I want to be called the Holy Ghost, too. This is pretty stupid what I'm saying, but I think that it's light years, Buzz light years ahead of what.
This was a hard one for me. I don't remember what my favorite topic was, actually, in fucking grade school. I always liked social studies, so probably social studies. In high school, it was definitely social studies, like world cultures was probably my favorite class, actually. I like the social sciences, learning about history and wars and all of that type of stuff. I was really into that. Kind of hard at a Catholic school. We don't have a lot of choices, have science, math, English. Fucking hated art. Gym was dog shit. So, yeah, it's pretty much like world cultures and band, but band definitely doesn't count, so.
this moron's talking about. Okay, and finally, and I cannot believe nobody pointed this out on Twitter. Maybe I need to go do one of the ones where you scroll across, that classic Twitter format where you go, look at this, and then you scroll and you go, yeah, that guy's an idiot. I can't believe nobody's done that yet. Why the new pride flag was.
Guys, I'm just now reflecting on this, looking back at my life. Classes sucked in high school. Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on at my high school, but now that I'm thinking about this, I fucking hated all of my classes pretty much. And it sucks too because I went to a pretty good school and like I actually had good teachers. So I don't blame my teachers, but all of the classes sucked, and I kind of liked the weird ones. I liked world cultures. Actually, our accounting class was pretty cool because who taught that? That was a pretty cool class. But yeah, classes pretty much sucked. I don't know how I made it through, and I don't know why I wanted more school after my experience with academia in my high school, which was fine, obviously, but uninspiring. And then, like, college. Like, I will say that Penn State's where I, like, fell in love with like, academia. Like, I took badass classes in college, and they were taught by amazing professors, and that definitely... I mean, it should go that, because there's, like, levels to it and shit, But, definitely had a incredible academic experience in college. That made me really excited about the idea of being a scholar. But I'm just looking back on this, realizing I must have just been young and full of hormones and shit, because I liked high school, but looking back on it, most of it was those classes and they were fucking awful. So I guess it's the social shit and like music and all of that type of shit that got me through it. And I think I just worked hard enough to make sure I didn't get bad grades, because I thought that was like embarrassing, like to get bad grades in, high school when the classes weren't that challenging, which is a good idea because I got an academic scholarship. But I definitely wasn't like inspired or motivated by my classes until I got to college, for sure. I feel like I just realized that looking back. Like when I got to college, I was like all about it. High school, I was like, fuck off, I just want to play drums.
It's inevitable.
Grade school, I barely even remember. I was like, fuck off, I just want to kiss girls and play drums.
Jordan Peterson's like, oh,
and
look
basketball.
At this. Jordan Peterson's like, look at this. It's so bad. Look at this design is so bad. Let's click literally right next to it. Let's click on his icon. Let's look at these two. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. That design's so ugly. That design's so ugly, makes me sick.
Are you guys familiar with the dog Chocolate Lab?
If you take a look at the nose of that dog, what do you see? All right? The color of that dog's nose is nothing compared to that of what is his name? Jordan T. Dieterson when it comes to Elon Musk. Oh boy, he's really sniff.
Yeah, ultimately, I think of school very functionally now. So I pretty much think like you only really have to graduate from high school if you like need to do something that requires you to like go to college, I guess, or formally have a high school diploma. And I only think people should give a fuck about academia if they need it for whatever job they want. So, yeah. Like, literally, I selfishly think it worked out for me because I became an academic, but if you don't have a good reason to go to college, don't go to college. It's a pretty shitty idea. Like, I have so much fucking debt, I don't even want to talk about it. It's disgusting and gross, and I should be ashamed of myself. But Superhero Energy, that surprises me and scares me because you're pretty confident. So it's just like I say, you never know who watches you, and people are crazy competent. You never know based on somebody's background. I happen to be a dumbass with a very fancy formal education.
Sniffing around the, let's just say, the bottom side of of this guy.
Elon Musk is my father.
Okay, so in this one, Elon Musk is replying to...
Yeah, that's what I mean about going to like a shitty Catholic school. Like, everybody thinks Catholic school, oh, that's great. But mostly it's like you have good reading and writing. And then it's like the school is small enough that the class size is small enough that like most of you get into like some regular ass college or whatever because people are paying attention to you. But the trade-off is there's... At least the schools like mine, they were like small schools, so you don't get to take all the like cool ass programs like electronics, home ec, fucking woodworking, like all the cool shit that everybody at the big ass public schools got to do. They be making shit and building shit and making robots and shit, and like you didn't have any of that at our school, like none of it. And then all of our programs were grossly underfunded. So like our art program was shit, our music program was never fun. Like you just there's not a lot of. It's weird. It's like the way people perceive it and the reality are very different. And the reality is, it like works just well enough to keep up the perception. Ironically enough, it's like, yeah, we did have a really high fucking, acceptance rate to four-year colleges or whatever. That is technically true. But to say that we had like some unbelievable fucking hoity-toity education, like we just didn't. We didn't have shit. We didn't have shit.
Ian Miles Chong.
But we can read
Weird. Who says, the establishment media is angry at Elon Musk. The establishment. This union buster who tries to hide all the crap when his cars go wrong and all this stuff. Who needs to fire.
For drafting class. That's so weird. They had to bus to your school for drafting class. Yeah. Hey, man, at least they did something. Yeah, Jordan Peterson, this is what I mean. It's like this whole self-made intellectual class, and it's then supported by people who effectively don't have the intellect to recognize. It sucks.
Everybody at Twitter so they can make back his money.
I do have some genuine animosity towards Jordan Peterson, I'm not going to lie.
So then Elon Musk replies to this, it's insane. I'm just fighting for free speech in America. And our main man, Jordan Friedman, or whatever his name is, he goes, it's always the fundamental fight, Elon Musk, and it's victory. Okay, 300. It's victory, always tantamount to a miracle. Wow. We're giving him a little bit of a hard time, but Jordy P's really got his, he's really sniffing. Oh, when it comes to Elon Musk, I mean, tweet after tweet. This might be the fourth pillar of the Jordan Peterson tweet catalog. Is just really sniffing. Okay, this next genre, ooh, fancy. This next genre of Peterson tweet is, you might be like, oh, it doesn't fall into the four pillars. Yeah, this one falls into climate change denial, because what he's actually saying here is experts are always wrong. To prove that experts are always wrong, his main thing is the food pyramid. He says, thank you, food pyramid. By 2030, 1 out of 4 Americans will not be obese, but severely obese. 1 in 4 Americans will be severely obese. That's around 220 for a 5'6", and people always do this on Jordan Peterson tweet. They point out, there's got to be more to the problem than just the food pyramid. This is another one. This is just like with the drag queen thing. It's like, imagine being an adult and believing this. Why are Americans so overweight? Oh, it's not because we work the most. It's not because there's, no floor in our society, which is very stressful. It's not because our food is addictive on purpose because that's profitable. No. It's a thing that no one has ever looked at, the food pyramid. It's a thing that maybe some kids in the 80s looked at in a book, and those kids immediately...
All right, this is what is so fucking irritating about these people. All right, so let's get a couple things straight. number one, I didn't know anything about him talking shit about Ukraine. But again, like most things, these people should just shut the fuck up. Because they're effectively just right-wing trolls. They're right-wing trolls who, for some fucking reason, we gotta all sit up in here and act like they might be fucking, oh my God, some type of fucking brilliant motherfucker that we don't, like, no. Just fucking no. Jordan Peterson's a fuckwad, and we all know this. Now, this is another thing, like with this whole obesity issue, where there was just an article in the New York Times about this, and there was just some big conference of scholars and researchers across all the disciplines about obesity, and They put forward a lot of different theories and ideas about contributing factors, but they walked away without being able to say conclusively, you know, that anything is really the one thing to point to. But the one thing none of them really mentioned, and we're all able to say conclusively it's not about, is personal responsibility. So here it is once again, where even on these issues that are less central to the everyday culture wars we deal with, motherfuckers like Jordan Peterson find ways to dog whistle and signal to the fucking right wing about how to throw some more people under the fucking bus in a way that's totally antithetical to what we're trying to do right now for people. And I'm getting really sick of motherfuckers being straight up the enemies of humanity and being treated like some kind of fucking heroes. It's off-putting, y'all. It's turning me off, and daddy is getting pissed off that daddy's fucking civility boner is shrinking because people keep acting like dog shit little bitches. Like, I'm really sick of it. You guys gotta understand, I'm already an angry black man, and when I see this shit every day, it just is making me fucking angrier. Like, just stop. These people just need to stop all of it. Stop talking about big people. Stop talking about little people. Stop talking about trans people. Stop talking about people of color. Just stop talking. Like, Jordan Peterson needs to retire.
Immediately forgot about it. They immediately forgot about it when they were like, Alpha's on. Yeah, definitely. When my ass rolls up to the Jack in the Box at 3 a.m., and I'm like,
marathon runners to couch potatoes.
Hold on, let me pull out the pyramid.
Oh, carbs. Okay.
Okay, yeah, the egg sandwich that I eat at 3 a.m., that has carbs. I like that whoever he's retweeting put it still from Wall-E, right? Which Wall-E was about the dangers of the food pyramid. This almost seems like the final dying brain cell of, like, you know, classic conservatism or whatever. Oh, you know, old school conservative, fiscally prudent, blah, blah, blah. Whatever fake mask, you know, the bigoted nonsense goose stepping crap of conservatism has always been. This is like the final flicker of that, of like, these bureaucrats in the government created the food pyramid. Oh, it's just overstep of the government that should be small enough for the bathtub or whatever. You know what? Actually, if I were one of Jordy's advisors, I would tell him to go full on with the food pyramid and be like, oh, if you look at the food pyramid, if you look at how it's arranged in the symbology of the food pyramid, it's a child sex trafficking code. But based on what I looked at of our crazy grandpa's 1,000 posts over the past 2 days, what he seems to post the most, he nonstop posts climate change denial stuff. And this might be the funniest one. And this is after post of, oh, it's fake. You know, look what Bjorn Joe Borgenstorgen put. Bjorn says that it's fake. Never challenges his own view that climate change is fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. And so finally he posts this. News.mit.edu. Earth can regulate its own temperature over millennia, new study finds. Jordan Peterson goes, fancy that. Fancy that. No problem. It'll all work out. No problem. It's a fun, and I'm just going to recommend this as a fun thing to do. Go check out Jordan Peterson's crap and then scroll down to the responses. Somebody responds with the great response, brah. This is how it would read, brah. And they quote the article. On the one hand, it's good because we know that today's global warming will eventually be canceled out through this stabilizing feedback. Oh, wow. That should certainly proves Jordy's crap, right? Jordy looked at that and he went like this. And they did this in his pants. So global warming will be canceled out through this stabilizing feedback, says Constantine Archduke, arch nemesis, a graduate student in MIT's Department of Earth, Atmospheric, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you continue reading, and it says, quote, but on the other hand, it will take hundreds of thousands of years to happen, so not fast enough to solve our present-day issues. Oh, Jordy. Seriously. And I just want to remind you, this guy posts all the time that his events around the world sell out. I mean, we're talking this guy packs stadiums, you know. This guy's like, you know, you're like, oh, I go see Russell Peters. You know, you're gonna go to a packed stadium. I go see Russell Peters, you know, he's do the Indian impression. Or I could go watch the boringest guy who has ever existed, who gets everything wrong all the time. I'll go to $100. And one of the Jordy stands replies, weird. Almost like there was a wise creator that designed it that way. Oh, wow. Yeah, there was a wise creator who created that way. Transgender Jesus. Look at this packed out theater of confused Australians going to see Jordy. I wonder, does he even do bits at these things? He packed the stadium. Does he even have like a bit planned? Or like a musical number or something? He's like,
the free market, that's the only way to go. Oh, hey, do you guys hear that? What's that, Mr. Fox? The forest is a place. Drag queens can't find me out here.
You know, I don't know. Like a window comes down on wires, you know, and he's like, why am I dressed like a little boy? I wonder if Jordy does like Stavros Halkia style crowd work at these things. He's like, hey, sir, do you lick people's assholes? Oh, this guy right here, he doesn't even want to answer. Anybody here watch pornos?
You might ask why I would be concerned with bringing the history of the Bible to a more popular audience. No. We inevitably and must see...
Sir, the library's closing soon, so can you wrap this up? Sir, the IMAX movie lobby is about to close, so you're going to have to stop sitting there. Sir, come on. And then Jordy's like,
Elon Musk is my father.
No, well, still, sir, you can't stay there. Yeah, so he's peddling this crap on his Twitter, too, which is like some course you could take or something.
Exactly.
But this is produced by the Daily Wire, and their production quality crap really drives me up a wall. Their editing really makes me want to throw a chair through a window.
It's kind of annoying. That's kind of the fact that he's such a big draw. When exactly you're right. I think even most of the theists in our crowd are smarter than Jordan.
And then the chair hits a car because these guys cannot shake Hollywood. Like they're literally doing the old fallback in a documentary where you put like the Philip Glass arpeggio crap, the Terrence Malick, crap. Oh wow, whoa. Whoa, is this Baraka? Look at that. Great. Who cares? Kiss my ass. You know, that Terrence Malick ass trailer got me really wanting to see this Jordy movie. What is it called? Exodus. Man, I'm expecting to see some real Avatar 2 level crap on this. So let's check it out.
When you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the birthing stools,
only like 2 likes on the
video.
video.
A son, then you shall kill him.
Yeah, guys, let's get some more likes on the
usage that you were talking.
Like the video, please. Thanks for the reminder, Carrie Ann.
About before.
There is a huge
issue here.
Okay.
The Hebrew is completely indeterminative.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Man, that trailer really so... Oh, so it's a bunch of decrepit old guys sitting in a studio? Sitting in the Daily Wire studio? How many cameras we got? 2? 3? Huh? We got some lav mics on these guys? We got some lav mics on these saggy old bastards? Huh? Answer me. I'm sorry, Dennis, you were saying?
Whether the midwives were Hebrews or not.
Oh, great, yeah.
Mialdot ha'ivriot, and I'm not going to throw out Hebrew often. I feel very self-conscious
Hebrew
at all.
often. There's always, you're already too much.
For those who know Hebrew, they will know what I'm talking about.
And of course, this is why the postmodern attack on traditional Western culture is so dangerous. Yes. I mean, of course, it goes back to the very origins of Western culture with the sophists. But the idea that there is no such thing as an objective.
And just when you thought this couldn't get any more ponderous and insufferable and self-absorbed anymore, check this out.
Justification.
You know, people have asked me, and I'm always embarrassed by this, but people have commented on my courage for speaking up, so to speak, and I think...
Oh, my Lord.
I'm always embarrassed about this, but people are always commenting on how much of a badass I am. They say, sir, they say, excuse me, Mr. Diesel.
Courage.
And then I say, no, I'm not Vin. And they say, oh.
It's hard to acknowledge how brave people often say that I am, you know, and... The massiveness of my genitalia as well as my unbelievable character is something that I find really hard to speak about. I mean, it pains me to speak about how intelligent and talented everyone says that.
How could you not be him based on that physique? And I say,
you don't actually understand the situation.
Wow.
I'm not courageous in my speaking up. I'm more afraid of the alternative.
Right.
And part of the reason for that was that when I was a Clinton...
I have to speak up because there's drag queens on TV, for God's sake. Am I a hero? You know, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to say, but... Yes, I definitely am. Oh, wow. Come on. No. Oh, wow. Whoa. Oh, is this Interstellar? Oh.
That's on YouTube.
Yeah, Exodus. You're going to want to... You're going to want to make one. Jordy's calling this thing Exodus because it's what you're going to want to make 10 minutes into the video. Well, guys, speaking of Exodus, thank you so much for watching. Let's always remember that
Daddy can do no wrong.
And I hope you're all working to
take the towers down now.
Love you guys so much. We're not going to talk about what day it is because we did dislike it. Highly dislike it. Hope you're having a good week, guys. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Oh, hey, guys.
Guess what? You're not...
All right, gang. It's 4:20. Let's go with a little MJ interlude. Ready for takeoff?
Start my morning every day with her. In the afternoon I lay with her. In the evening I'ma stay with her. Hi, I'm in love. I ain't even tripping, but them say she a drug, cause she here every day for me. In the morning hit her faithfully. At least a dub when we touch. No one falling in love. I ain't even tripping, cause she the one I could trust. Even bring her out on dates with me. See my mama new place with me. She hold me down on the days when I ain't feeling too up. I ain't even tripping, cause she with me in the clutch. I go all out the way for ya. Take some time out my day for ya. I even took her on a plane, but she ain't even a drug. Some say I'm tripping, but they ain't even in love. In the morning I might lay with ya. In the afternoon I play with ya. But I know I'm never tripping. The signs say I'm in love. Mary Jane is different cause she ain't even a drug. She be there every day for me. She my sweet Mary Jane shorty. I even took her on a plane, but never enough. Some say I'm tripping, she turned me into the plug. She be there dealing weight with me. She be there to take the pain from me. The homie said that I'm tripping, but all they do is get drunk. Smoking on the wax, they thinking I'm off the drugs. I go all out the way for ya. In the morning I might lay with ya. In the afternoon I stay, cause she know that I'm in love. I ain't even tripping, cause she the one I can trust. She go running every day with me. Take the kids out to play with me. They say I'm tripping, I ain't slipping, cause she ain't even a drug. Niggas sipping lean, ain't worried what's in your cup. In the morning I might play with ya. Take a long walk and stay with ya. She my sweet Mary Jane, and she the one I could trust. Niggas sipping lean, but me I'm smoking a dub. I go all out the way for ya. Take some time out my day for ya. I even took her on a plane, but never enough. Some say I'm tripping, but they ain't even in love. In the morning I might lay with ya. In the afternoon I play with ya. But I know I'm never tripping, cause hi, I'm in love. Mary Jane is different, cause she ain't even a drug. Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's jump into a couple other videos real quick.
Oh, River.
For the first time.
All right, here we go. We're going to talk about this volcano real quick. Actually, let's go corner.
In nearly 40 years, the world's largest active volcano, Mauna Loa, is erupting on Hawaii's Big Island. Right now, lava is flowing down the mountain, but we're told it's not putting anyone in danger at this point. But an ashfall advisory is in effect, and shelters are open. Let's bring in meteorologist Tom Sater. Tom, this volcano is so large, it covers half the island. But lava isn't so much the concern, it's the air. So help us understand.
Right. Back in 2010, a volcano in Iceland erupted on it. I'm sure you remember this. It's known for shutting down the world. The volcanic ash in the eruption shuts down airspace. You can't fly in it. So for a couple of weeks in Europe, there were no flights. Now, we don't have that problem yet unless we have another eruption. So just to get your bearings straight, here's Honolulu, well to the northwest. Here's the Big Island. Notice shaded in gray. That is the ashfall advisory. It's been extended till 10 a.m. because of the ash. And it can be toxic. When it rains, it can be very acidic. It'll damage the crops. Livestock, unfortunately, will be harmed with this. Let's take a Google image of this. You can actually see the past lava scars here in the center. But this is the outline of Mauna Loa. So yes, the largest volcano on our planet woke up this morning, and we do have some concerns. Now, scientists, local scientists, volcanists, they've been watching this since June and monitoring the activity. This is the caldera, all right, when you get to the peak. Now, what I'm going to outline here for you, this is the lava that has been building upwards, all right? So the pressure is building. When you have that, obviously you're going to have to release that pressure. It can be from an eruption, or sometimes we have these fissures around the sides. It's like steam vents. And sometimes they can erupt and you'll see a collapse on the volcano. But notice all the burn scars. You go back to 1843. Between 1843 and 1950, on average, Mauna Loa would erupt every 3.5 years, like clockwork. From 1850 to today, it's 5 years. And the reason for that is it just went through the quietest period in history of 38 years, 1984. Hawaiian Ocean View Estates, well down to the southwest. Now, when we look at the images of this is the caldera infrared image. So again, they've been monitoring this. They took a flight over this morning. Here's the satellite imagery. Look where Hilo is. That's a concern because when that volcanic ash slides over a community, obviously it can be toxic. So authorities are saying wear a mask. And again, the land around volcanoes is the most fertile in the world, so that's why farmers work this. So that's a concern for farmers right now in their livestock. Right now we are seeing some lava flows, but it's confined to the peak. Remember Kilauea. Just 2018, dramatic images of the lava flows coming through the communities, scorching homes across roadways, making its way eventually to the ocean waters. But again, this is video of that scene from this morning. So yes, we still have pressure building on them. There could be another eruption, but right now the advisory only till 10 locally because we haven't seen a massive eruption. But again, when you look at the activity, this is all earthquakes, and they've been watching, and it's really been picking up in intensity. You'll see it really get yellow with the eruption early this morning. So again, largest volcano waking up, at least slowly.
Yeah,
slowly waking up.
And those
like
images are really something. Yeah, I feel that way, especially after Thanksgiving. I think I'm still trying to.
All right, guys, that's Stupid Heart Energy's literally thinking ahead of me. You know, the reason I actually showed that, it popped up on my news feed, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, because I just think we lose sight of the awesomeness and the power of pillar of fire by night, smoke by day. And that's kind of where I was going, is because I just think when we think of, I don't know what the right word is, minds in the time of Jesus, I don't even know what that period of history, it's not prehistory, because there's some records. It's not, anyway. But just imagine the power of a volcano. So to me, it makes a lot of sense for volcanoes and natural phenomena like that, ironically, perfectly natural phenomena, to inspire, personhood of a deity. And I think it's important that we remember that when we hear these stories and narratives, that this could be potentially what they were dealing with, and just how awesome and impressive that type of thing is. But at the same time, we have to now reflect on it with our modern minds, where, for lack of better expression, we just simply know better. But I always think it speaks to the awesomeness of, if Yahweh really is, for instance, a volcano god, you know, you got to think about that, man. You think you done pissed off God, and his train fills the sky and shit, and it's all very real. And you know, that pillar of smoke by day and fire by night. That's whew, y'all. That's real shit, kind of, right? That's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. That sexy goes in the sound bed. All right. This sounds real fucked up. What's going on here?
Community.
We're doing the news with Pocket. I gotta give y'all what's going on in the world.
By a triple murder. The victims all related to a teenage girl who may have been catfished by the killer. CBS News' Carl Fincham, she's live with the horrifying details of this investigation. Such an awful story, Cara.
It really is, and Riverside PD now telling me that teenage girl, just 15 years old, she is now the sole living witness to the murders of her mother and her grandparents in the home here that is taped off right behind us. And you can see candles have been left out here. The home was also burned. A Riverside police spokesperson tells me they are talking with that teenager and gathering evidence that suggests she was targeted by an
They put up a cross? Weird.
Online predator.
He developed a relationship with her enough where we believe there might have been an exchange of texts, maybe phone calls, and he was able to get her personal information. He was able to get her address. We believe at this point that this suspect was the only one involved in the murders and in setting the fire.
Killed were 69-year-old Mark Winnick, a volunteer baseball coach at nearby Arlington High School, his 65-year-old wife Sherry, and their 38-year-old daughter Brooke. Investigators think their killer was 28-year-old Austin Edwards, who had been working in law enforcement in Virginia for a couple years and was currently employed by a county sheriff's department there. They think he pretended to be a teenager and are not sure how long he'd been communicating with the 15-year-old before traveling across the country, and they believe committing these murders. Authorities were first alerted when someone saw a girl who seemed distressed getting into his car. Hours later, they spotted the vehicle, and a pursuit began that ended with her getting away and Edwards dying in a shootout. Riverside police are now looking into his past and whether he may have targeted other young girls. They're also encouraging parents to talk with their children.
The process of meeting someone online and to be someone who you're not in order for your own gratification, whether it's sexual, financial, whatever the case is extremely common.
Seeing what they're doing online, we really have to. I randomly take my boys' cell phones and go through it.
Yeah, I definitely creep all up on my kids.
That mother was dropping off her sons this morning at the high school where Winnick was
I don't know where the line between responsibly reporting the news and fear-mongering is.
Volunteer coach, very...
Because notice they were like, you got to really talk to your kids. And then she's like, yeah, I take my kid's phone, I snatch that shit, and I run through it. I was like, I'm not sure that's what we mean.
Somber there as students headed back to class for the first time since his death.
Last
night, the baseball players on that team that he helped coach and others from the school held a candlelight vigil outside the Winnick family home. And back here live, just outside the home where those candles remain, a cross created by 2x4s is now up in one of the boarded windows. Many here are worried about that 15-year-old girl who is now in social services custody after losing her whole immediate family. We understand she is getting a lot of help through counselors and such right now as police continue speaking with her.
Damn. That sucks. That sucks. All right, folks. I am going to call it there. I've got to get ready for my meeting with Rob at 5. I appreciate all you guys. We'll be in Gather afterwards. I might come back later, but I'm not sure yet because I'm not sure what my dad's doing tonight. But otherwise, thank you guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I'll see you tomorrow. Name the Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopher Hitchens. Science bless you all. Poof.
Why you wanna leave me alone? Saying all I do is wrong. No rights when they been left turns. Playing that she gotta let it burn. Saying that the house not a home. Sunshine cause you heard it all before. Sometimes she don't wanna be alone. Most times she don't want me gone. She don't know I try my all. She don't know I sprung in the sun, but I'm going in the winter, so we good to the fall. Remember how I told you I get it and I win. Now I'm got it, you ain't answering my call. Wonder if I've been moving too strong. Maybe I just been moving too boss. Really hate when the feeling get lost. Nowadays she just dodge my calls. In the game throwing laws like Paul. Young legend Miss John like Wall. And I wish you never met like Call. Dick game lay it down like law. Made plans but you canceled them all. I was just trying to splurge in the mall. Now I'm home stacking bread till you call. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking Zah. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl.
Be smoking that side. I'm trying to get high. She said that she not ready for love, stop wasting my time. I got demons in my closet, I can't hide. I did all my exes wrong, they wish I died. Damn, I tried. They won't believe me when I say this. Oh my God, what a blessing. Hello Phoenix, that's my twin. I told these hoes they won't get my heart again, not again. Cause they were missing when I needed just a friend.
They were missing, yeah, they always missing. They don't want no smoke, they hit the blunt and started tripping. My daughter about to be 5, I ain't got no time to be bitching. I'm still reminiscing, we ain't had no food in the kitchen. I gotta go stack. I'm waiting, know I'm heading, but I'm going up. I hit the side, now your sack feel like I'm throwing up. And I just took another perk, cause one wasn't enough. Yeah. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking Zah. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. back and shine. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking stop. Stop back and shine. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. Stop back and shine. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl.